The Tibetan community and Buddhist followers across the globe are hurting and traumatized by these horrifying accusations against His Holiness the Dalai Lama by the media and people watching a 20-second edited video clip with pervasive descriptions, turning an act of kindness, a jovial cultural prank, and grandfatherly affection into something lustful and immoral. Child abuse and neglect are serious global problems as many children suffer serious abuse at the hands of powerful people and religious institutes. Child abuse should never be tolerated. But His Holiness the Dalai Lama's act of kindness, humor, and warmth towards the young student should not be compared to that. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, a Tibetan Buddhist monk, has been in the eyes of the world since birth for 87 years, living a pure monastic life of celibacy, preaching and practicing compassion, nonviolence, and harmony. He continues to share his wisdom and build bridges across nations and religions to strive for a better world based on the concept of universal oneness and human happiness. It is humanity's greatest fortune to be able to live in the same era as such a moral leader. Many people watching that viral video weren't aware, as the video was edited as such, that the boy's mother was literally at arm's reach away and watching the entire interaction between His Holiness and her son, and that there were 120 people, students, and other dignitaries in this globally live telecast event that happened over 7 weeks ago. The political angle and the magnitude of the smear campaign to malign the reputation and legacy of His Holiness cannot be ignored. Finally, I want to request everyone to watch the complete video of the event, to listen to the interviews of both the boy and his mother after the event where they share their happiness and joy. May our truth prevail and long live His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
How do you think Tibetans would interpret these criticisms that have been circulating online?
Well, I mean, the Tibetans have been in the streets protesting against these criticisms, right? This is, I think, I mean, if we're going to label it criticisms, I would actually label it misinformation. I think it's a deliberate misinformation campaign. I think this, the question of why this narrative is circulating now is really important. It comes only weeks after Putin and Xi met. The video, the actual video, circulated on March 1st. The viral, highly edited video to make the Dalai Lama look terrible, and I've watched that in horror, that video, was extremely edited, like for salacious content and to make it look hypersexualized. Who did that video? We still don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if it was from China or not. It's not clear. But it really circulated en masse in India. That's where it started, and that's where it went viral, and that's where it spread from. So, you know, we need to look at this from a geopolitical angle. Who stands to gain from this narrative? This narrative of slavery has been around for a long time. It was debunked in the 1990s. There's been books authenticating Tibet, answering the questions to the Chinese propaganda about slavery. There was no slavery in Tibet. There was no history of slave trade the way there was in the West in Tibet. It just doesn't exist. There's another term called miser, which the great eminent historian Tsering Shakya talks about in that BBC article that was widely circulated. You know, so I really think the narrative has to be who is behind this misinformation campaign and why. And it's not a question that I can really answer at this point, but I think, you know, I think your analysts, and I know I'm going to be working with some cybersecurity experts at my university to try to understand who edited this video and then who circulated it, because I think it marks a change in the geopolitical order. I don't think that this is a lot of Tibetologists have been surprised by this. I have not been surprised by it because the Dalai Lama holds so much power in the sense that he's a true world leader, a true bodhisattva of compassion. He only works for social justice. And, you know, who stands to gain from circulating this kind of malicious content but China, and trying to, you know, be the arbiters of world peace, which is a complete lie. It's just, I really feel like this video and this misinformation, there's a lot more behind it. And I think that's also why it went viral in the way that it did.
So what are the concerns expressed by human rights groups if this misinformation continues to be circulated? What are they accusing the Chinese government of, and how has Beijing responded?
I have not seen any response in Beijing, except for that I know that this video has circulated widely in China, and that Tibetans within China are in tears about this, not because of the misinformation, but because they get to see a picture of His Holiness, which is banned in Tibet. For a decade or so, there was no pictures allowed in Tibet of the Dalai Lama. And this has been the first opportunity for many Tibetans within Tibet to actually see pictures of the Dalai Lama. So they're thrilled by the opportunity to see this. Do they believe the propaganda? Of course not. Tibetans and Tibetologists, anyone who's ever had contact with the Dalai Lama knows what a pure and kind spirit he is. And we're so lucky to have him here in our time. And, he's getting old. And the power shift is one about, his reincarnation, the politics of reincarnation, the power, who has legitimacy to control the narrative of that. China wants the Dalai Lama under their the new Dalai Lama to be recognized within China, so they can control that narrative. Remember, we come from the perspective with that politics and religion should be separate. Yet the Chinese Communist Party in 2005 put a rule in that they have the ultimate arbitrary right to say whether an incarnate Lama is a true incarnate Lama or not. And that is all a power play about the next Dalai Lama. What also happened in March, between the time that this original video of this long Buddha ceremony circulated, and then the viral video, which happened a month later, on April 8th, is the first evidence that I see of that video by Yin Sun, a Twitter pro-CCP, anti-Uyghur genocide, the liberation of Tibet kind of CCP propaganda Twitter person. He's the one that I saw the first evidence of this video circulating. It doesn't mean that they did it. I have no idea who did it. I have no idea who's behind it. And it was the next day that in April 9th is when it circulated in India. But, so what I do know is that
just a final word there, Nicole. We have to, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but you can just have a final word absolutely. There. Yes, you can just finish your sentence.
Yes, I think a Buddhist idea called tendril, which is the dependent origination, there's many factors that make up something. So really, to get behind this question of whether or not who was behind this misinformation, we need to find out the many factors behind it, because it's not just one.
Well, Nicole Willock, thank you for sharing your views with us. A very a complex situation, but we appreciate your time in explaining it to us. Thank you.
Thank you.